Stunky is one of the most powerful baby Pokemon in the entire series, which may seem strange because its evolved form, Skuntank, quite frankly stinks in competitive play. This Pokemon is consistently ranked in lower tiers with unimpressive stats and little to offer compared to other Dark-type Pokemon. Stunky, however, is a force to be reckoned with down in the world of Little Cup. Little Cup is a format where baby Pokemon are forced to battle one another. The maximum level is 5, and you can only use first stage evolutions. Stunky is excellent here, and ever since its release in Gen 4, it has seen consistent usage in Little Cup across the generations. Even in the modern day, Stunky maintains an A+ rank Pokemon and is a common sight in high-level competition. What is so great about Stunky in Little Cup? What is his secret for success? Let's find out. But first, an important update. Iron Mugulus is enjoying his last couple days of existence, the only way he knows how. Will he return? Only time will tell. Iron Mugulus and my koala merch are available for 2 more days at jimothycool.com. The shop will close at August 18th EST. Check it out, folks. Thank you. Even among fellow baby Pokemon, Stunky's stats are not particularly impressive. Compared to fellow Little Cup mainstays like Gastly, Munchlax, and Abra, Stunky might seem pretty average. But where Stunky's strength really lies is its typing. Poison Dark is actually one of the best type combinations in the entire game. Not that many Pokemon can abuse this typing effectively. In regular competitive play, Alolan Muck is probably the best example. But down in Little Cup, Stunky's typing makes it an excellent Pokemon. Poison and Dark complement each other perfectly. Poison types are usually vulnerable to Psychic, but Dark grants an immunity to Psychic. Dark types are usually weak to Fighting and Fairy, but Poison patches up that weakness. Poison typing can also soak Toxic Spikes, removing them from the field, and this is just a great neutral defensive typing overall with only a single weakness to Ground. Ground is a pretty easy weakness to patch up, with so many Pokemon immune to it that you can put on your team. A common fixture of Little Cup is Abra, one of the most powerful baby Pokemon, with an impressive base 105 special attack and a great 90 base speed. These stats honestly rival some fully evolved Pokemon. Abra became especially powerful post-Generation 5, where it received the ability Magic Guard. Magic Guard is a top-tier ability, granting complete immunity to indirect damage. Having some sort of response to Abra is pretty important in Little Cup, as it is one of the most common and successful special attackers in the format. Stunky happens to be a perfect response. You are immune to Abra's stab type of Psychic, and you shrug off just about anything else it can do as well. The common coverage of Shadow Ball is completely resisted, Hidden Power coverage can be easily shrugged off, and since Stunky is a Dark type, you can easily hit them super effectively. Stunky is able to trap Abra with Pursuit, which will one-hit KO Abra as they switch out, or at least bring them down to their Focus Sash. Even if they stay in, the unboosted Pursuit will KO. Abra only has 15 defense. And even if you think they might stay in to play around Pursuit, you can use Sucker Punch, a priority attack, which will very easily one-hit KO as well. Another common sight in Little Cup is Gastly. Much like Abra, Gastly has pretty above average stats for a baby Pokemon, with 100 base special attack and 80 base speed. Ghost Poison typing is excellent, as is the ability Levitate. And who better than our favorite Skunk to take out this pesky Ghost? Stunky resists Ghost type attacks and Poison type attacks, and can also Pursuit Trap and eliminate Gastly. Unlike Abra, Gastly does have a tool to threaten Stunky, Will-O-Wisp, which will apply Burn, but Stunky can still KO Gastly even while Burn. You can also choose to carry a Lumberry for additional support against this status. Stunky has useful coverage options as well. With access to Fire Blast, even though your special attack is unimpressive, you have a nice way to threaten Steel types, especially Ferroseed, who is ×4 weak to Fire. This is a nice way to complement your Poison type attacks, since Steel types are immune to Poison, and having Fire coverage really helps in that department. From Generation 6 onwards, Stunky also got significantly buffed by mechanical changes. In Generation 6, Steel types lost their resistance to Dark, which turned Dark into one of the best offensive types in the game. Unfortunately, Stunky would not receive knockoff yet, but being a Dark type definitely felt better here. The new and improved Defog was also a fantastic new tool for Stunky in Generation 6, allowing you to remove hazards from the field, enhancing your utility. The Fairy type was introduced in Generation 6 as well, which was great news for Poison types. Poison types have a Fairy resistance and also hit Fairy types super effectively. One of the downsides to Dark type post Gen 6, despite all their new buffs, was their vulnerability to Fairy. So Stunky being neutral to Fairy instead of weak to it output was an enormous advantage. While this isn't the main benefit of using Stunky, it also has a decent ability: Aftermath. If Stunky is KO'd by a contact move, it will deal 1/4 of its own max HP to the enemy in damage. This can be useful to trade with specific targets, break focus sashes, and achieve KOs that you couldn't otherwise. It's not fantastic, but it's better than nothing. Stunky would unfortunately lose some of its options over the years, with Pursuit being removed from the game in Generation 8, taking away one of Stunky's chief benefits. And Stunky has also lost the option of Defog in Generation 9. But despite these losses, Stunky maintains a number 3 position in the entire metagame, just behind Mienfoo and Voltorb Hisuian. In Gen 9, Stunky gained an option that would make up for all these losses: the ever-valuable move Knockoff. Many prime knockoff abusers of the past, such as Pawniard, lost access to this option while Stunky gained it. Across all of Pokemon, this is one of the best moves in the game, but it is especially great in Little Cup, where Eviolite is absolutely everywhere. Knocking off this item removes significant defenses from the enemy, and is very high value. Stunky also gained a great new option in Generation 9, the move Temper Flare for physical fire coverage. Temper Flare is a 75 power fire type attack, which is already decent enough on its own, but it has the effect of doubling in power if your last move failed. This works alongside Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch has priority on it, but it will fail if the enemy does not use an attack on the same turn. So now if you get a Sucker Punch predict incorrect, it's not all bad. This Sucker Punch failure will boost Temper Flare to 150 power on your next turn, which is fantastic. This means Temper Flare can not only serve as fire type coverage, but sometimes just a huge nuke with impressive damage output. This Temper Flare effect also works alongside Gunk Shot, which can miss. If you miss an attack, it will also activate the Temper Flare effect. Stunky's Poison Dark typing remains as solid as ever in Gen 9, but it feels especially great against the all-new baby Pokemon threat of Glimmet. Glimmet is the first stage of Glomora, who is known for its ability Toxic Debris. If a Pokemon with Toxic Debris is hit by a physical attack, Toxic Spikes will be scattered on the opposing side of the field. Toxic Spikes are not too common historically in Little Cup, as the metagame tends to be pretty fast-paced, and Toxic Poison has diminishing returns with such low HP values. But when Toxic Debris can be set passively, thanks to this ability not requiring a move slot or a turn spent clicking it, it is obviously much better. Since Toxic Spikes are a more relevant part of this metagame, thanks to Glimmet's presence, Poison typing being able to remove Toxic Spikes from the field on switch-in is even more valuable. The fact that Stunky is a rare Dark type neutral to fighting is also an important factor. This makes Stunky less vulnerable to Mienfoo, who is the bane of most Dark types. Mienfoo is the #1 Pokemon in Little Cup in most generations, so this is a very important trait in Stunky's favor as well. Stunky has had a very impressive career in the world of miniature Pokemon. That Poison Dark typing has aged incredibly well, only getting better and better over the years. In Generation 9, Stunky stands tall as the #3 Pokemon in the entire format, boasting 17 years straight of competitive excellence. This is definitely a Pokemon that has passed the smell test.